Hey, I haven't done a video on politics, I think, in a long while, or maybe even ever. um, and this is not going to be on my own political views, FYI, before I start this video. This has nothing to do with what candidate I want to win in 2024. This has nothing to do with what person I want to win the Republican or Democrat nomination. This is just going to be, from what I can tell of events that have already happened over the last week within the Republican nomination, of my own predictions of what will happen in the 2024 election. And the reason I think I have a little bit of room to speak on this is I've always, ever since I was a little kid, paid attention to electoral politics and maps. I was always filling them out. And as an adult, my main investment strategy is whenever the election rolls around every year, I bet money on elections because I'm pretty good at predicting the outcomes and I don't love either party. So I'm able to make my predictions without my biases getting in the way, which a lot of people can't do when it comes to politics. But anyways, also before I get into that, one quick personal update, and I mean, it's not huge, but it deserves to be shared. For those of you that don't know, throughout 2022 and 2023, it's been kind of wild for me. I had a whole bunch of jobs just flail out of me for in 2023, and I had to do a horrible job in Spectrum for a while, and I finally got a new job here with PNC as a personal banker. It's not a grand job, but it's a hell of a lot better than the job I had with Spectrum, which was truly just torture. and so I'm on a vacation for this week, and next week I start with PNC. But my job with Spectrum is officially over. So thank goodness. And, I won't, talk about it a whole lot more, but I am so relieved you have no idea because I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown with my former job. It was getting so bad. So, yeah, I'm so happy that that's over and, life's moving on. Also, I'm going to be making more money in my new job, which matters because I don't have a lot of it to spare right now. So, anyways, moving past that though, back to the topic of the video. For those of you that didn't hear, DeSantis just today dropped out of the Republican nomination. He was considered by many to be maybe like the maybe third place overall right now in the Republican nomination. That leaves Nikki Haley and Trump essentially because Christie also dropped out, and so did some of the other candidates in the race. Biden is essentially probably going to be the Democratic nominee. Incumbent presidents are almost never ever voted out in the nomination process, and I don't think Biden will be. So this essentially means a lot has developed within the last week politically, which is why I chose to make a video, because now we know the Republican nomination is down to Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. And I would predict it'll be over within a week or two, though, because it could happen that Nikki Haley competes with Trump in New Hampshire and then wins in South Carolina. And of course, South Carolina, for those of you who don't know, is her home state. She was the governor there for, I believe, back in 2011 to 2015. Timeline might be slightly off on that. But anyways, that will be the pivotal point right there, because if Nikki Haley beats Trump in South Carolina with room to spare, then her campaign has life, and she will probably at least go on to fight for a while with him in the Republican nomination. If Trump, however, does beat Nikki Haley in South Carolina in her own home state, as well as beats her in New Hampshire, this primary is over, and it will be Trump v. Biden in 2024. And I can say that with almost 100% confidence. And if you don't believe me, well, look at some past primaries, And this is not FYI. I'm not saying this that I want Trump to win. I'm not saying this that I want Nikki Haley to win. I'm not saying that I want Joe Biden to win. This is just speaking like you would bet on different horses on the track or different teams in the NFL or, soccer league or Major League Soccer. Okay. Trump, essentially, if you lose a primary in your own home state, you're dead. Marco Rubio in 2016 had been almost Trump's just as big of a competitor, if not more than Ted Cruz. Then he lost to Trump in Florida. The next day, his campaign was suspended, and he was out of the primary. That is very common that if you can't win in your own home state in the primary, you're considered essentially out of the nomination. And Nikki Haley will be no exception. If she can't beat Trump in South Carolina, then it's as good as over, On the other hand, it's not guaranteed that she will lose either New Hampshire or South Carolina. With Ron DeSantis out of this, Nikki Haley actually has a little bit of a chance, even though DeSantis endorsed Trump, because now the anti-Trump forces within the Republican Party have an official candidate to rally their support behind. And Nikki Haley has a lot of support both from the Republican establishment as well as from all parts of the Republican Party that don't like Trump, you know. So it'll be very interesting to see how those two end up, you know, if it does end up becoming a contest between the two. Personally, myself, I think Trump will win the nomination. Again, I'm not saying I want him to win the nomination or the election, but I'm just saying, logically speaking, I think Trump still has an enormous amount of support. And Nikki Haley is a good candidate, but honestly, I mean, the last time she was relevant on the political stage was as Trump's UN secretary, or back in 2011, which was really when she was at her most relevant. And that was a long time ago. You know, a lot of people probably don't even know who Nikki Haley is, you know. So, rationally speaking, just from an analyst point of view, I predict that this election will be over after South Carolina's primary, because Trump will probably either beat Nikki Haley there, or, you know, it might be so close that it's essentially a tie, which would be a loss for Nikki Haley. So that's my prediction for the Republican nomination, and then it'll be Trump v. Biden in 2020. But with one caveat, keep in mind, if Nikki Haley is competitive in South Carolina or in New Hampshire and wins in South Carolina, then we will have a real probably race on our hands for the Republican nomination. And that could be interesting to watch, you know, because there's a lot of people in the Republican Party that don't love Trump any more than some of the Democrats do. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But anyways, you know, again, if you're a Trump supporter, nothing against you. If you're a Nikki Haley supporter, nothing against you. And if you're a Biden supporter, nothing against you. This is just my own political analysis of what will happen. I'm a independent politically. Socially, I'm more liberal. Economic and fiscal issues, I'm a little bit more center-right. So I would not say I'm just in love with either side. But again, this is, if you disagree, feel free to say so in the comment section below. And as usual, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.